I made quite cool AI commercial for a simple everyday product. And I will show you how, but first, let's check it out.
Excuse me. What perfume are you wearing?
Not perfume, just laundry with Puella, a fragrance revolution for your wardrobe. An intense oil-based scent that lingers for days. Discover Puella laundry perfumes at puellascents.com.
Alright, so here is the point. We usually save such cinematic marketing for sexy and premium products, but everyday products can look incredible too. And honestly, there is no excuse anymore. We really have everything to produce ads like this. In this case, I was using only Freepik for everything that was generated. And now I will break it down for you. So as I have told you, I was using Freepik for everything that needed to be generated and created. And I was doing whole project in spaces. Because this node-based approach is something that fits my style of creation. I can see the project with a distance. I can quickly navigate and reference certain images or videos, and it works for me really well. I'm not saying it's the only way to do that. I'm just saying it's the best way for me. And now the first stage was pre-production. And in this case, it consisted of script and basic storyboard. So I could possibly quickly discuss it with a client, and we could potentially iterate on certain visual looks. And it can be done really fast, basically, once you actually have some idea locked in. I did that ideation part in ChatGPT, and I ended up with this master prompt that covers the whole commercial, and it's giving me descriptions of 9 shots out of it. I'm not saying it will have 9 shots, but you can create 9-panel image for client or for yourself, so you can quickly get the feel of how the commercial should flow and how it might look in the end. So I had my master prompt, and with Nano Banana I created a couple of 9-panel versions, which in the end were not used in the final clip because those are low resolution. But with this step I was able to really quickly validate my idea and that I know what I'm going to do. Without it, only thing I really needed to actually prepare before real production was to get a good image of a product, which I have here, and also to select and confirm the main actor there, which is this woman. All other characters are just supporting, so I did not obsess over it because they would appear there only once, maybe twice, so you won't connect the dots probably. Therefore, only reference for this woman was needed to be validated before I could move on. Once this was done, you can see I had my layout here from top to bottom, and I was creating each scene in a row. It is never perfect, and many times I do some generation rounds, then I realize time doesn't work exactly as I need. Therefore, I maybe introduce a close-up shot for a brief moment, and I need to branch out of already generated main shots to create a supplementary material that will help me to create whatever I need. And exactly in this first example, you can see that the intro section was covered with this image, but I knew I wanted to present the main character in a front view and also in a setting where she is walking. So this was covered by two main shots, which is a front view and also like back view where camera is tracking her walking down the street. And on this side, it was only image generation. Then on the right side, I moved to video generation where I was referencing selected images that I was okay with. And for each video, I had my prompt prepared upfront. Of course, some tweaks were necessary here and there, but I did quite a lot of pre-production before I actually got into generating part. So here you can see its first section with images generated and then videos that are results of those images. I never generate videos from text inputs. It never works. You cannot control it and you cannot maintain visual consistency there. No chance. So I literally never do that. This process was repeated for every single scene. With the second scene, you can see the pedestrians and people around are like inhaling beautiful fragrance of that product. So I divided it into like a group shot and also some single person shots to fill in the content because it's still advertising and you want to maintain some pacing and some suitable speed. Therefore, only to apply longer shots would not work. Therefore, you want some longer and some shorter. Then the middle section where man interrupts woman to ask her what perfume is she wearing. This one was most difficult because I needed to correctly sequence to present that moment that he like interrupts her, stands in front of her and asks her that question. So I was creating many shots here, like men running after her. I ended up with a couple of images which were used for video generation. However, it is never only AI, to be fair. I always supplement with Photoshop and with practical approach to editing. For example, this shot is interesting because the sequence starts with a man coming from behind of a woman and he will get in front of her. And before he starts speaking, I wanted to like introduce her face again. So I needed to like reverse the camera position there. And it did that correctly, as you can see. But from this shot, where he interrupted her, to this shot, which presented her face, it was quite simple for Nano Banana to do that, but it was truly painful process to also get it to flip the environment because I wanted it to keep the street as it is. However, when the camera position changes, this glass window and orange, I don't know what it is, should be on the other side. And you can see here, it's inverted, but this is not correct position. Therefore, I needed to take a couple of steps so I actually get it right. Therefore, this window is on the correct side, but right now, man is standing wrong because he is speaking to her from her right side. And if I rotated camera, he stands here, but he should be standing here. Again, I could try to prompt it, but I did not see any point for that because I fixed that in Photoshop quite fast. Copy this image, and here, as you can see, I just selected characters, I inverted them, filled the background, and merged layers. Probably most of the people would not even notice that, but I do. And I wanted it to be correct. So I fixed it in Photoshop, then zoomed in a little bit, and I used this image here for the interruption sequence. Rest was just tweaking with the tiny details in the video prompt to get that right generation. you will never or almost never end up with the first generation being right. 99% of generations would look good. This is basically solved. However, it needs to be that right shot, and this takes time. So then I continued. In here, it was the most difficult shot to describe for me, since I am not native speaker. Therefore, it was quite a challenge to describe position of camera inside a washing machine drum. But I managed somehow. And as I told you before, this is just a copied thumbnail. And in here, it's final image that has the lighting I need, which is consistent. Also, color grading is there. So with this shot, I created my videos. And then ending shots were quite similar because it was like a smooth, easy action there. Nothing particularly difficult, so I did ending really fast. And now, one thing, considering that speaking part, when man is asking her what perfume does she wear, unless he needs to speak in multiple shots, you don't need to take care about keeping consistent voice or doing difficult lip sync approach. He has just one line and he doesn't speak anything else. So we can get beautiful results within generation itself. It just needs to be the model that is able to generate audio. I was using Klingo 3 here and it has audio, but inside the prompt, I always use something like that, which is quotation marks. Excuse me, what perfume are you wearing? And in prompt, I tell it decent smile and start to speak. Quotation marks and what should he speak? And this simple approach helps you to get spoken videos easily. It won't work in 2-minute video where a man is speaking a lot of lines, because probably his voice would change and you would need to fix it after. But with one line, this is the best way to go completely. And this was basically it for visual generation. However, I also needed a voiceover that would be spoken in the ad without any particular character speaking it. And for this case, I also used Freepik, but their audio generation, where I only picked the voice I thought might work, and I just gave it a text to be spoken. Only thing I did here is to pick expressive approach for how she should deliver the lines. But in here, I think I picked second generation, and that was it. This is everything AI generated, but we still do not have commercial because we only have footage. So I put that together in Premiere Pro, where I selected the music that I wanted, which is this one. And here I uploaded every single material. I created a cut. Also, I added some sound effects, like when her high heel shoes are touching the ground, maybe some decent inhaling sounds or a cloth whoosh when she throws her clothes in the washing machine. Nothing too complicated, but I am 100% sure even those tiny details matter and you need to pay proper attention to it. Otherwise, it would still miss something. Of course, that sound design and leveling different tracks like music, sound effects, and voices needed to be also edited and prepared so you can hear it and feel it naturally. Otherwise, it would be complete mess. However, that's the story for another video. But with main cut ready and also sound that is done, I did necessary adjustment for video to be elevated so it looks better, more realistic to a certain point, and it needed 2 stages. One was color correction, because even though I had quite consistent images generated in case of visuals, there were still some color balance differences and I needed to deal with it before color grading came up. So this was the first color correction line, matching the basic tones of shots. And once that was done, I was trying to implement some color grading where I was looking for a best look, at least in my eyes. And I have my ways to do that. However, with this video, I was using Dehancer for the first time. I was offered an option to try it. I must say it looks really promising, and there is a high chance that it will become a standard part of my production pipeline, because there are mainly 3 areas that it does really well. First, it gives you that film grain, which is way better than if you just throw adjustment layer with basic noise applied on it. That noise doesn't look like real camera. With Dehancer, there is a film grain where you can pick one based on the lens you could choose. So I really like that part. Then halation, that helps you to mimic practically recorded footage and materials. As you can see, it gives you that like red glow. Let's say it's glow, but it's halation, and it happens around lighter parts and edges. So it helps you to bring a little bit of realism into it. And the third part is bloom, which if you are using Premiere Pro, there is nothing like that in here. I think DaVinci has it, but in Premiere Pro, I would need to do a couple of steps to get it right. But bloom that is available in Dehancer simply looks better. I still need to get more into it, but those 3 settings help me a lot here. So if you would like to check it out, there is a link for Dehancer in the description. And this was basically the last stage of production. I only needed to render it out. Of course, when you are using such adjustments and Dehancer and those tiny elevating adjustments, you need to set up your render properly. Otherwise, it might look good here, but once you render it out, colors might look fleshed out or bland, and it would not look good in general. So also pay attention to what render settings do you have. But other than that, you only hit render and you are done. So this is the way of how I did that commercial. I'm not saying it's the only way. I'm saying it's my way. It works for me. I tweak my process with each new project. And anytime I stumble upon something that I would like to share with you, I will do that. If you found this helpful, comment below would be nice. I would really like to hear your thoughts about it. And thanks for watching. See you next time.
Excuse me. What perfume are you wearing?
Not perfume, just laundry with Puella, a fragrance revolution for your wardrobe. An intense oil-based scent that lingers for days. Discover Puella laundry perfumes at puellascents.com.